Needless to say, I'm pretty pumped to check this out. Ooh, see what it's got. Did that go in? That's right, we got one. Jesse just sent this over in this beautiful looking box. This is amazing. Also, side note, my dog got a little excited at the box, and so he attacked it. Luckily, nothing inside was damaged. But in case you didn't know, this is kind of a big deal. Not only is this one of, if not the first disc that was made by fully recycled plastics, but this is a YouTuber. Like, a YouTuber made this disc out of his garage and mass produced it, and now it's a PDGA approved disc, the inner core. So, needless to say, I'm pretty pumped to check this out. Got a little note. Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate that. Woohoo! Those are sick. But this is what we're here for. It feels like recycled paper. Like it's like a fancy paper. Ooh! Oh, baby. Got a pair of them. Guys, this feels like really good plastic. Right off the bat, feels great. It is softer. That's one of the main things I first noticed about it. So if you're not into softer putters, that might not be for you. This feels almost like I'm pretty sure this is like a premium plastic. I mean, he makes it out of just whatever like recycled plastics he has. These are lightweight, 168. As you can see right there, that's pretty sweet. These don't have stamps on them because stamps are actually really like wasteful, and so he intentionally did not want to put stamps on them, but they're all like debossed. Is it debossed or embossed? I don't know, but they look sick on the bottom side. Profile, it's pretty shallow. It's not like super deep, but it's not crazy shallow either. It's got like a lip. Yeah, see, there's like a little ledge here. It's not like consistent dome across the top here. These are pretty sweet. The fact that he made this out of his garage and got this produced is insane. Plastic feels good. It's like halfway. It feels like a premium plastic, but like a 3/4 of the way to premium to pro. I mean, it feels really similar to like the old Echo Star plastic, which I mean, the Echo Star was recycled from their plastics, so recycled plastic, that would kind of make sense. But it is a lot softer. It feels really grippy. So I got we got some putters here to compare them to. So I'll say it's probably closest to the Sensei, at least on the bottom. Like it's probably as shallow as the Sensei. It feels very similar to that for sure. So it's like a Sensei and like a softer, grippy plastic with this. Yes, there's this little ledge here on the edge, but you don't feel that ledge unless you hold your putters close to the edge like that when you throw them. I personally don't. Yeah, if you put them close to each other like this, you can see they're pretty dang close, which I think is kind of what he's going for, because like the Sensei is basically like a point and shoot putter. I think it was like negative 0.5 with a 1 fade or 2 fade. I'm having troubles finding the exact numbers. I'll put them on screen here. But yeah, it's not like a Luna. So here's like a Luna here. The bottom is just curved like that. So it's not the bullet shape that you would be used to if you throw Lunas. Yeah, it's definitely got like a ledge here on the bottom, unlike the Luna. The Luna's like completely curved. There is a little bit of flashing here. I mean, that's common with newer companies making discs, but it's not. It's actually because since the plastic's soft, like the flashing is kind of soft, so it doesn't feel like it's like cutting you. It's like I feel like if there's other plastics, like a Champion type plastic that's stiff and hard that gets kind of flashing, it wouldn't feel comfortable. But since the plastic's soft, like it doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, it definitely feels very similar to a Sensei, or I would also say like a shallow Warden maybe. But the shoulder here is a little bit fatter on this than the Warden, and it's weird because like this is fatter than the Warden, but like overall I would say this is a lot shallower than a Warden. It almost looks like an AVR X3 if you smushed it down. Like that's what this end looks like. But I mean, it's not an AVR X3 because those are pretty overstable, and this is supposed to be pretty straight. But I'm pretty pumped to go check this out. Hopefully it's not too windy, but see you out on the course. All right, first throw with the inner core, see what's got. All right, so last night I got a little excited and it was late, but when comparing these to the Sensei, this is definitely deeper than a Sensei. So it's not a ton deeper by any means. Like I would put the shallowness probably close to a Luna type disc, maybe a touch deeper, but neither here nor there. I would put it as a shallower putter, not quite as shallow as the Sensei though. That one's very shallow. But the flight of this thing, this is solid, a solid disc. Like it's definitely, like the numbers are 2, 4, negative 0.5, and 0. And I would say that that's pretty dang accurate, especially since like I would not put very many discs at all at a 0 fade. Like there's so many discs out there that have a 0 fade, and that's just not true in most cases. But like this one definitely just finished straight, whatever line you put it on. Like of course if you put it on hyzer and it doesn't pop up enough to get flat and it holds a little bit of hyzer, it'll fade out a little bit because it's holding that angle. But if you get it to flat and it flies straight, as long as you're throwing it over like 240 feet, this will pretty much fly and finish dead straight, which is very impressive and very nice disc to have. It definitely holds different lines, so like when throwing it on a long anhyzer, I would throw it and I threw it a little bit of anhyzer so that I could turn into it a little bit, and it just held very nicely all the way down to the basket. Because like with my Luna, for example, this one you have to put on a pretty big angle and almost have to put it wider because you have to put it on so much angle for it to hold the ante so long. Did that go in?
No, it bounced off against that side.
Oh man.
That was beautiful.
That would have been amazing. Yeah, I totally brought that comparison up just so I could show you that. So anyways, honestly, I wouldn't compare it very well to a Luna. It does not fly like that because this one doesn't really want to turn all that much unless you don't have a clean throw on it. Then it'll turn over, and it's pretty easy to turn a Luna over. But this one is like, even if you throw it clean, it'll give you a touch of turn, and it's very nice when you get it that clean release. But for me, like throwing it off the tee is very difficult for me to throw putters off the tee in general. And so it's very difficult to throw this with power and get it to fly straight. It's very easy to turn over because it has turn already in it. So if you don't throw it clean, especially when these lighter weights, which I wouldn't be surprised if most of them are lighter weights because he was trying to get the mold under the PGA limit, and he probably just like overcorrected to make sure absolutely they're underweight. And so I'm assuming that most of them are going to be this lightweight, and as he gets more into the production, I bet you he'll get closer to 175 with these, because a 175 one of these would be very nice. It would be a little bit more forgiving on throws, which for me is very much needed for off the tee throws, because even the Sensei was more overstable than it. Like it of course is, because the numbers like 3301, and it's interesting because what I would compare it to would be a combination of two discs. I know this sounds weird, but the Lone Star Discs Armadillo is it flies very similar, like right off of the bat. It's of course slower though. You can definitely feel it slower because this is a 1-speed and it's a lid, but like flight wise and the touchiness wise on drives is very similar to this. Like these are probably similar in sense of like how easy they are to turn over, and they both give like a touch of turn to them. But this has more of a finish at the end than the inner core. And of course this one has a 1 fade. I would put it between that and the penny. And the penny is even more overstable, has more of a finish at the end. But these ones fly pretty similar as well. I would say the penny is a little bit faster though. It feels more lid-like than the penny because it has those red ridges here, and it's a little deeper and it's a little like thinner on the bottom here. It's almost like a hybrid between this bullet and the lid of the armadillo. I know it's a weird comparison, and Jesse's probably watching this like, what the heck are you talking about? But that's kind of where I would put it. I would put it between these two. But it really has not much finish at all compared to these that have a little bit of finish. I did bring the Sky God. It's not even close to the Sky God. Sky God's just overstable. But this is just a very nice finesse throwing putter, because it has just like that very neutral flight with a little bit of turn and little to no fade. I would say this is probably one of the best beginner discs that you can buy. The one downside would be that I'm guessing that these are going to be hard to come by, because I almost guarantee you that Jesse's going to sell out of these like hotcakes, and then like they're just going to be hard to get for a little bit. But once he gets this production down and they're readily available, or if you're able to get in on his drops, like this is one of the best beginner putters I think on the market, especially since they're coming out in lighter weights. Like this is not gonna be very forgiving at all. Then if you can learn to throw this clean, then you're off to a tremendous start in this sport with this disc. Like, congrats, Jesse, this is amazing. But the thing that makes this great is also probably its biggest weakness. At least for me, being in Kansas, even the slightest winds when you're throwing this off the tee, and I'm talking like the breeze picked up to like maybe 8 miles per hour, maybe, and this doesn't turn back or fight at all whatsoever. Like you can put it on a hyzer and it's gonna pop up straight, and then it's just gonna keep going right, and this is not coming back at all because it has no fade. Like on short approaches and stuff, it's gonna be great for point and shoot, whatever line you put it on. But off the tee, if there's like any wind at all, this is turning over, and I wouldn't use it all that much. And being in Kansas, that means I wouldn't be using it very often. This is like early in the morning. It's one of the very few times that there's little to no wind. Because if there's any wind, this thing, it's very difficult to use. Like it's hard for me to throw it off the tee clean already. Then you throw in a little bit of breeze, and it's great for turnover shots. That's it. But for putting, I really like it. Like the shallow feel of it. The rim here isn't too thick. Like it's pretty shallow. So if you like to put your finger around the edge of the rim here, like it fits very nicely, even with it being beadless. So the only downside for me is that it's a pretty gummy flight plate. So Jesse, if you come out with if a run of plastic of these comes out stiff and over 170, I might have to get a stack of these and start putting with them, because they feel really nice for putting. The one downside being the gummy, and I don't like putting with gummy discs. But yeah, Jesse, you guys at Trash Panda, you guys are doing something great with this. Also, last night, like, I made a big deal about this being made by a YouTuber. I didn't make as big of a deal out of it being made from recycled plastic. Like, yes, you see, like, Echo Star or I forget what the trilogy calls it, but like recycled line, like biofusion type of plastic. You see that in other companies, but those recycled lines are like, they make their run of discs, and then the leftover plastic from these discs are reused for the recycled line plastic. So it's still their plastic, and it's still brand new when it gets into the factory, per se. This is probably the first disc that's made out of fully recycled plastics. Like this isn't left over from other discs being made. This is like trash that was made into a disc. Like this is probably the first production run of discs made this way. And so it's kind of a big deal. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.